Hey everyone, welcome. On this channel, we're going to get into an advanced look at the story Disastrous Necromancer. Come with me as we unravel the journey of Lin Moyu, from his beginnings to him becoming a force to be reckoned with in a mysterious new world. If this story sounds like something you'll enjoy, please like, share, and comment. Your support helps us keep providing these in-depth looks into the world of Disastrous Necromancer. Now let's continue.
The alien leader in the second center has awakened, and the contestants can go to kill it. Lin Moyu looked at the large array in the sky and thought to himself, this is forcing me to offend people. Originally, he could have gone alone to kill the abyssal dragon demon without anyone noticing. But now, his plan to secretly kill the monster was disrupted. It seemed like the Human Emperor Network had discovered his plan and deliberately created trouble for him. Lin Moyu steeled his heart, then let's stick to the original plan. A large number of skeleton generals flew out, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000. A million skeleton generals, each turning into a stream of light, surrounded the central city. From this moment on, the central city became a forbidden area, and Lin Moyu did not allow anyone to approach. Anyone who got close would face the ruthless attacks of the skeleton generals. When a million minor god-level skeleton generals appeared, the four domain lords were completely unsettled. Even Zhu Tian was bewildered, not knowing what was happening. He knew Lin Moyu had many summons, an astonishing number. But normally, the higher the level of the summons, the fewer their numbers. This was common knowledge among summoners in the Black Tortoise Star domain. But this common knowledge was broken by Lin Moyu. The other three looked at him, and Zhu Tian said without hesitation, "Don't look at me, go ask old Zhu." The three snorted, clearly not believing him. At this moment, the Shu family ancestor said, "This is also one of the reasons for closing the projection. You must keep Lin Moyu's situation confidential." The four understood the gravity of the situation. Lin Moyu's potential had already been elevated to the same level as the simulated spirit array, becoming an absolute secret of the human race. They were smart enough to realize that if Lin Moyu continued to grow and his summons became stronger, one day, if his summons reached the God Sovereign level, a million God Sovereigns on the battlefield would be an unimaginable sight. It seemed that even the simulated spirit array would become less important. The million skeleton generals, densely packed, surrounded the entire central city from the sky to the ground. Their long swords pointed outward, not to fight the abyssal dragon demon in the city, but to prevent anyone from disturbing Lin Moyu. Dongfang Zi arrived and stopped abruptly in midair, 1,000 meters away from the skeleton generals. The skeleton generals in front of him had already raised their long swords, pointing at him. Dongfang Zi felt a strong sense of being locked onto by killing intent, making him very uncomfortable. He saw Lin Moyu among the skeletons from a distance and was greatly shocked. Are all these skeletons Lin Moyu's summons? No wonder he could collect points so quickly on the Wanshan continent. Summons comparable to minor god sovereigns are indeed terrifying. Although the number of skeleton generals was large, Dongfang Zi was not afraid. He shouted at Lin Moyu, what do you mean by this? Lin Moyu seemed to be waiting for him, it means don't come near. Dongfang Zi said in a deep voice, what if I insist on coming closer? Then you can try, I don't mind eliminating you now. Lin Moyu's tone was calm, without a hint of emotion, but it sounded completely different to Dongfang Zi. Dongfang Zi said coldly, do you know that doing this will anger everyone? As he spoke, Wei Bowen, Qing Fei, and Shui Xilan also arrived, each keeping a considerable distance and not approaching. Dongfang Zi deliberately raised his voice so everyone could hear. It was clear that Dongfang Zi was trying to provoke. Whether it was Qing Fei or Wei Bowen, both were very powerful. Although they were still minor god sovereigns, they far surpassed the skeleton generals. If they really wanted to rush in, the skeleton generals, despite their numbers, might not be able to stop them. Soon, others also arrived. Besides Dongfang Zi, there were two other minor god sovereigns from the Divine City, though not as strong as Dongfang Zi, they were close. They stood by Dongfang Zi's side, naturally on the same side as him. Another person from the War God Hall also arrived, standing with Wei Bowen. Bai Xiao and Hu Tian from the White Tiger Star domain arrived one after another. A stream of water fell from the sky, forming a human figure beside Shui Xilan, senior sister Shui, I'm here. Soon, everyone who had entered the second layer, except for Zhuang Bai and Chu Shang, had arrived. Dongfang Zi smiled smugly, Lin Moyu, do you intend to offend all of us? Although your skeletons are many, I admit, if it were a life and death battle, we wouldn't be your match. But can they alone stop us? Dongfang Zi was leveraging the situation, but he was also speaking the truth. Everyone's here. Lin Moyu had not acted immediately because he was waiting for them. He glanced at everyone, are you planning to stop me? His voice became powerful, creating an invisible pressure. Dongfang Zi and Wei Bowen's faces changed slightly, feeling something was off. At that moment, they felt as if they were facing a powerful god sovereign. It was a soul-level pressure. Lin Moyu had killed god sovereigns, and not just one. He had faced the netherworld realm and endured powerful ancient curses. Even without considering his soul quality, his spirit and energy were unmatched by these people. Ching Fei was the first to shake her head. Junior brother Lin, don't misunderstand. I just want to see how you kill the abyssal dragon demon. Ching Fei was the first to express that she would not interfere with Lin Moyu. Dongfang Zi's expression turned ugly. In his view, he, Wei Bowen, and Ching Fei were the strongest three. If Ching Fei stood by, the threat to Lin Moyu would be greatly reduced. Dongfang Zi looked at Ching Fei and said in a low voice, "Are you willing to watch him kill the alien leader and get the treasure?" When did people from the Azure Dragon Star domain become so timid? Ching Fei's voice turned cold, and she lightly waved her green sword, emitting dragon roars. How I decide is none of your business. If you say one more word, I'll fight you right now. Dongfang Zi was speechless. He didn't want to fight Ching Fei now. At this moment, Shui Xilin also expressed her stance. Junior brother Lin, I have no intention of competing with you. I'm just watching and won't interfere. The figure beside Shui Xilin said in a low voice, I have no objections to senior sister Shui's decision. Clearly, they had a good relationship, and this person followed Shui Xilin's lead. The burly Hu Tian said loudly, I won't compete with junior brother Lin either. I just want to see junior brother Lin's methods. The other contestant from the White Tiger Star domain didn't speak but stepped back, showing his stance. The cultivators from the 4-star domains, for various reasons, decided not to compete with Lin Moyu. Now, only Dongfang Zi and the two from the Divine City, along with Wei Bowen and another from the War God Hall, were left. Both had conflicts with Lin Moyu and clearly didn't want to give up easily. Lin Moyu looked at them, go ahead, but bear the consequences. His tone was still calm, not a threat, but more than a threat. Dongfang Zi felt conflicted, unsure whether to act or not. He was very unwilling, but looking at the dense skeleton generals, he wasn't confident. Rushing in was one thing, but what next? Lin Moyu ignored them and flew towards the city. As he entered the city, the abyssal dragon demon fully awakened, letting out an earth-shattering roar. The terrifying pressure belonging to a god sovereign instantly swept across the heavens and earth. Lin Moyu felt all the clouds being blown away, revealing the enormous array in the sky, clearly visible. The ground cracked, countless stones fractured, and the city almost collapsed. Dongfang Zi and others' expressions changed simultaneously. God Sovereign. It's actually a god sovereign. The abyssal dragon demon at the god sovereign level. Exclamations of disbelief echoed. No one had expected that the alien leader would be a god sovereign. They had thought that the abyssal dragon demon, like other giant beasts, was just a minor god sovereign, at most at the peak of the minor god sovereign level. Dongfang Zi believed that as long as it was still a minor god sovereign, he could kill it with some effort. But facing a god sovereign, he had no other way except to protect himself. Even if everyone present joined forces, they might not be able to defeat a god sovereign. Originally, Dongfang Zi was still hesitating whether to make a move, but now he had no intention of doing so. Facing a god sovereign, no matter how many skeletons you have, it's useless. The power of a god sovereign is far beyond that of a minor god sovereign. Dongfang Zi thought to himself as he began to retreat quickly to avoid being affected. Not only him, but Wei Bowen and others also retreated, both sides showing great tacit understanding. In contrast, Ching Fei and others did not retreat, seemingly having great confidence in Lin Moyu. Ching Fei didn't know why, but her intuition told her that the abyssal dragon demon at the god sovereign level was not Lin Moyu's match. Shui Xilin had a similar intuition, so she didn't retreat either. Lin Moyu felt the god sovereign aura emanating from the abyssal dragon demon and shook his head slightly. Compared to a true god sovereign, it's still a bit lacking. He had fought against several god sovereigns and was very clear about their strengths and weaknesses. The abyssal dragon demon in front of him, although it had an aura similar to a god sovereign, was still somewhat lacking. Lin Moyu thought it might be due to the array. After all, it was something simulated by the array, and there was a significant difference from a true god sovereign. Another point was the signature ability of a god sovereign, the power to mobilize the Lost Star River. He wondered if the abyssal dragon demon in front of him could do that. Lin Moyu sighed, showing a hint of disdain, let's try it. I hope it won't disappoint me. His subtle expression was noticed by Dongfang Zi, who felt a surge of anger. What kind of expression is that? He's actually disdainful. Facing a god sovereign, he's disdainful. Does he look down on god sovereigns? Wei Bowen also noticed Lin Moyu's expression, his expression is strange, as if he doesn't take the God Sovereign seriously. Ching Fei and Shui Xilan had different feelings. To them, Lin Moyu seemed somewhat disappointed in the God Sovereign. They didn't understand, but instinctively felt that there might be something wrong with the abyssal dragon demon. Unfortunately, with their eyesight, they couldn't see what the problem was. Not only Dongfang Zi and others, but the 4 domain lords also noticed Lin Moyu's expression. Knowing the inside story, they read other information from Lin Moyu's subtle expression. Yi Qingshan whispered, "This kid seems to have noticed something." Bai Binger was skeptical, "Is that possible? He's just a god king. He can't possibly see through the array." Yi Qingshan shook his head, "It's hard to say. I've always felt he's unusual." Wu Da suddenly said to Zhu Tian, "Old Zhu, this is your man. What do you think his expression means?" Zhu Tian chuckled, "Just keep watching, and you'll know." "Keep watching." Lin Moyu raised his hand and pointed to the sky. Boom! The heavens and earth shook violently, and the array was impacted. Gray flames appeared in the sky, instantly enveloping the entire city. The flames shot up to the sky, burning fiercely, yet strangely without any temperature. A pressure no less than that of the abyssal dragon demon slowly emanated from the flames. The 4 domain lords were also shocked, and even the Shu family ancestor at the Beyond Realm looked at Lin Moyu. Outside the city, everyone was stunned. Dongfang Zi exclaimed, "What kind of spell is this? How can it have the pressure of a god sovereign?" Wei Bowen also roared, "How can a mere god king cast such a spell? Even our war god hall doesn't have such a spell." Ching Fei sighed lightly, "Junior brother Lin indeed has a trump card." Shui Xilan and the little red spirit on her shoulder both widened their eyes. "I feel the gray flames are very dangerous, enough to burn me to death." From the gray flames, a huge skeleton throne emerged. The skeleton throne was exquisitely crafted, exuding an ancient aura. Just the throne alone seemed like an artifact from a distant era, radiating majestic power. "It's different." Lin Moyu noticed some differences. He knew that after reaching the 4th stage of the God King level, the Skeleton King could potentially reach God Sovereign combat power. And it was true, but he didn't expect that the transformation would occur in the Skeleton Throne, not the Skeleton King. The Skeleton Throne didn't get bigger, instead, it became smaller. Lin Moyu knew that the size of the Skeleton Throne generally represented the size of the Skeleton King. A minor God Sovereign Skeleton King was as tall as 100,000 meters. At that time, the Skeleton Throne could be described as covering the sky. But now, the Skeleton Throne was only about 10,000 meters, indicating that the Skeleton King was also about 10,000 meters tall. The Skeleton Throne flew out of the gray flames, like a supreme throne, floating in midair, confronting the abyssal dragon demon. A powerful pressure emanated from the Skeleton Throne. Then, a huge gem on the throne lit up, and the Skeleton King appeared on the throne. As Lin Moyu had expected, the Skeleton King had indeed become smaller, from 100,000 meters to 10,000 meters. But the Skeleton King had also become stronger. The original Skeleton King was bare, although large and mighty, it always felt like something was missing. Now, the Skeleton King was wearing exquisite armor. The armor was as white as jade, yet reflected a metallic luster. The combination of 2 different types of luster made it look extraordinary. The Skeleton King's head was also covered with a heavy helmet, revealing only a pair of terrifying eyes glowing red. The Skeleton King stood up from the throne, and the bone cloak behind it instantly ignited, covered in flames. The Skeleton King struck the Skeleton Throne with force, and the throne exploded, transforming into an equally exquisite bone sword. The Skeleton King held the bone sword with both hands and walked out of the flames. At this moment, it became a terrifying flame warrior. The abyssal dragon demon seemed to sense the Skeleton King's power and roared, flying towards it. The Skeleton King's eyes glowed red, and suddenly, a Lost Star River appeared above its head. In the Lost Star River, countless bones floated, as if countless skeletons were drifting within. Lin Moyu was awestruck. This was the Skeleton King's law, the law of bones. The Skeleton King had become different, completely different from before. The Skeleton King at the God Sovereign level actually possessed its own law. This meant that other skeletons, upon reaching the God Sovereign level, might also possess their own laws. Among God Sovereigns, the presence or absence of a Lost Star River and the ability to mobilize its power made a huge difference. The Lost Star River poured down, countless bones transforming into the power of law, converging on the Skeleton King. The bone sword slashed, emitting a sharp sword light. Spell, God Slaying. The sword light exploded, and Lin Moyu clearly felt the terrifying power of this strike. The sword not only contained the Skeleton King's own law of bones but also his own law of immortality. The two laws fused almost perfectly, further enhancing the power. Before the abyssal dragon demon could reach the Skeleton King, its body suddenly exploded with dazzling sword light, shattering into pieces. The abyssal dragon demon didn't even have a chance to scream before it was torn apart by the sword light and then turned into dust. Lin Moyu didn't even need to use the array to retrieve it, it had already disappeared from the world. One sword strike annihilated the abyssal dragon demon. The Skeleton King, also a god sovereign, had combat power far surpassing the array-simulated abyssal dragon demon. At this moment, Dongfang Zi and the others were completely shocked and speechless. With their understanding, they couldn't even imagine what level of power this was. A god king reversing a god sovereign, was this something a human could do? Even in the historical records of the human race, Xiao Zhanshan was the only one who achieved the feat of a god king slaying a god sovereign, and that was at the 9th stage of the god king level. He was the only one in human history to have done so. After Xiao Zhanshan, many geniuses emerged, but none could achieve this feat. For example, Xiao Sheng, known as the star of the human race, only accomplished this feat at the minor god sovereign level. But Lin Moyu, at just the 4th stage of the god king level, had achieved this feat. He could no longer be compared to the war god. Lin Moyu's actions had completely surpassed the legendary Xiao Zhanshan. Dongfang Zi kept repeating, "This is impossible, this is impossible." Wei Bowen also stared wide-eyed in disbelief. The 4 domain lords were equally shocked, unable to speak, no better than anyone else. They knew Lin Moyu was powerful, but they didn't expect him to be this powerful. The voice of the Shu family ancestor slowly echoed, "The future is promising." "The future is promising" was already a very high evaluation. This was an evaluation given by someone at the Beyond Realm, something ordinary people could never receive. Even the 4 domain lords, at the peak of the god sovereign level, only received a comment of having a chance from the Shu family ancestor. Yes, they had a chance to step into the Beyond Realm, but it was far less promising than Lin Moyu's future. The 4 realized that in the eyes of the Shu family ancestor, their status was already far inferior to Lin Moyu's. It was highly likely that in the future, Lin Moyu would surpass them and leave them far behind. When they thought about Lin Moyu's age, they felt this possibility was infinitely large. With the death of the abyssal dragon demon, the array began to operate, and the entire city turned into points of light. The points of light gathered in the air, forming a long sword that fell directly into Lin Moyu's hand. The sword was very ornate, with a gem embedded in the hilt that looked like a dragon's eye, crystal clear. This is not a real object. As soon as Lin Moyu held the sword, he knew it was also simulated by the array. It felt like a real object, but it wasn't. Lin Moyu was filled with curiosity about the array, which could simulate various creatures to the point of being indistinguishable from the real thing. It could also simulate magical treasures that had some special effects within the array. Truly a magical array. However, the sword did not display any attributes, it was just ornate and had no other features. Lin Moyu thought for a moment and used a detection spell on the sword, just like in the real world. The Human Emperor Network immediately responded. Violent sword. Can amplify the user's attack tenfold, up to 10 uses, asterisk. A simple attribute, capable of amplifying attacks tenfold. A tenfold amplification was a huge temptation for anyone. If it fell into the hands of Dongfang Zi or Qing Fei, they could use this sword to unleash their strongest attack, potentially reaching the level of a god sovereign. Very useful for others, but for me, it seems not very useful. This sword might be useful for senior brother Zhuang and senior brother Chu. The rules don't say it can't be given to others. This way, senior brother Zhuang and senior brother Chu might achieve good rankings in the next stage. Lin Moyu thought, but the premise was that Zhuang Bai and Chu Shang could pass this stage and enter the next one. Now that they were not here, Lin Moyu knew what they were doing. Not coming to the central area was the right choice. It was better to take this opportunity to find tokens and stone tablets. Perhaps they already had results. Lin Moyu put away the violent sword, flew onto the Skeleton King, and simultaneously recalled the million skeleton generals. His sharp gaze swept over Dongfang Zi and the others. Do you still want to make a move? Lin Moyu looked down from above, like a king overlooking his subjects, making Dongfang Zi extremely uncomfortable. But discomfort was useless. He had to admit he was no match for Lin Moyu. The 10,000-meter Skeleton King summoned by Lin Moyu had the power to crush him. Barring any accidents, this time's champion would undoubtedly be Lin Moyu. He had no ability to compete with him. Under Lin Moyu's gaze, Dongfang Zi snorted heavily and left without looking back. Wei Bowen also turned and left. Hu Tian cupped his fists towards Lin Moyu. Junior brother Lin, I admire you. Lin Moyu accepted calmly, nodding slightly, Senior brother Hu, no need to see you off. Hu Tian turned and left, leaving only Qing Fei, Shui Xilan, and the figure standing beside Shui Xilan. This figure was shrouded in a layer of water vapor, making it impossible to see his true appearance. In the contestant information, he was called Shui Xing and seemed to know Shui Xilan. Qing Fei asked, Junior brother Lin, why not directly eliminate Dongfang Zi and Wei Bowen? Lin Moyu replied, if I wanted to eliminate them, I could have done so in the third layer. But there's no need, otherwise, the game would be meaningless. Lin Moyu wasn't boasting, he indeed had the ability to eliminate everyone in the third layer. But doing so would make the entire competition meaningless. He could certainly win the championship, but he wouldn't see what happened in the second layer or witness the magical array. With the experience of the second layer, Lin Moyu also wanted to see what the first layer looked like, so he wouldn't eliminate Dongfang Zi now. Keeping them around had its uses. Qing Fei didn't know Lin Moyu's true thoughts but followed his words, Junior brother Lin is truly extraordinary, treating the competition as a game. Perhaps it has been so from the beginning. Lin Moyu smiled but didn't answer. Qing Fei didn't press further and said, I no longer aspire to first place, but I will still strive for second place. As she spoke, she looked at Shui Xilan not far away. Shui Xilan said softly, I aim for the top 5. Both were determined and had their own goals. Lin Moyu smiled, I wish you both success. Qing Fei and Shui Xilan also left to find tokens and stone tablets. Lin Moyu didn't act immediately. After killing the abyssal dragon demon, he knew he could go to the first layer at any time. This was a right granted by the rules, he could go whenever he wanted, just with a thought. Lin Moyu wasn't in a hurry. After obtaining the violent sword, he had other ideas. When he first heard about the 4-star domains competition in the Vermilion Bird battlefield, someone mentioned that the Vermilion Bird star domain always ranked last. Only a few times did it not rank last, and even then, it was third from last. This time, he wanted to see if he could raise the overall score of the Vermilion Bird star domain to first or second place. Relying on him alone to take first place was not enough, it was a comprehensive ranking. If Zhuang Bai and Chu Shang could take second and third place, they might be able to achieve this. Originally, this was impossible, but now with the violent sword, he saw a glimmer of hope. As a contestant from the Vermilion Bird star domain, he had some team spirit, though not much.